1-0 up in the gauntlet.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to day 2 of week 1 of OPL 2020. I'm Nick Boy Richardson, and I am joined, as always, by my favorite boys in the world, my boys in blue. I've got Spawn, I've got Rusty, I've got Skimmy. Gentlemen, we really should have coordinated before we stepped out of our individual trailers. Bryce didn't know. He was wearing khaki, unfortunately. Yeah. This is humiliating. You guys are even wearing grey.
Similar.
Grey pants.
I've seen shoes as Spawn, but then I've kind of.
You actually are wearing the couch, just quietly.
I'm just blending in. I'm a hybrid. Let's just get it.
I just want everyone to know that I got changed at like 1 o'clock. I was definitely the first person changed.
Yeah.
Inspired.
But we go our separate ways, and then we come together, and it turns out you literally are wearing the couch pants. Welcome, everybody. This is an exciting day 2. Day
Absolutely.
1 happened. It's over. And I want to know what we learned.
The Chiefs play style surprised me a little bit.
Yep.
Game 1. I think Chiefs historically have like really been, and this is a bad camera shot.
Yeah.
I think Chiefs historically have really been one of those teams that does like to group up in a team fight, but have been more of like the slow burn, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then when I have a look at how they played yesterday, they were so quick at just being able to group up at the start of the game as Richard walks into the room.
There's a man here.
Yeah, they just, from level 1 or 2 onwards,
Mm-hmm.
they were just willing to fight in the river. And that was impressive to see.
I want to ask you guys.
Do we have working?
I think you work now.
You got this?
Say something?
Hello?
Yeah, I can hear
I
it.
can hear him.
Oh.
We're all good. That was Richard. Ladies and gentlemen, Richard. Thank you very much. I like your new hair, by the way. Looking sharp.
So we just couldn't be heard until this moment?
No, you definitely couldn't.
You
But you
look
could
like the
kind of
couch.
be, you could kind of be heard through Nick's microphone.
Okay.
Now that you're on the show,
He's live.
Hey.
welcome. How do you feel about yesterday?
I mean, yesterday felt like everything kind of went in ways that you would expect, except for the Chiefs, which is the one thing that Spawn highlighted. And I think that really the lessons for this first week come today, once we see some of the more exciting matchups, is what I would say.
Yeah, I think for me, obviously with all these Korean imports, the language barrier is a big one for me. We had Legacy obviously starting off strong. Maybe not as strong as they wanted to up against Avant, but
Avant should have won that game, I think.
They could have, yeah, very much so. Pretty close on the edge there with how those team fights could have gone. But I think for me the biggest one is how Direwolves didn't showcase their full roster yesterday. Now they're going to bring in some of their star-studded players today. So actually getting to see where the chemistry is at, where the synergy is at, and if the communications on lockdown.
Yeah, the actual debut of the Direwolves for 2020 happening today. Very exciting. Other things happening today. We're going to do a Nick bag.
Great.
Yep.
I mean, I would say one of the show's favorite segments.
I would say 80% of the show like the Nick bag.
The 20% is
Probably me.
probably you. But we want your questions. AskNickBoy@gmail.com. Do you need to throw a microphone at me?
Are they still not?
Who's not working? Me? Both? Oh.
Both of them.
What a shame. The mics aren't unmuted yet.
Richard
either,
is
so-
really like, he's trying his best.
He's really wants to be on the show. That's the impression that I'm getting.
I hope I come through twice
Testing. This is an ASMR stream now.
Look, I could hear you the whole time. I have no idea what's going on. You get rid of a desk and suddenly all the cables are gone. AskNickBoy@gmail.com. Please send in your questions for the Nick bag, or you can send them to me on Twitter @NickBoy@gmail.com. I mean, you and I were talking before we get into game number 1. You and I were talking earlier about yachts.
About owning a yacht.
Yeah.
Not just any yacht, by the way, because Nick and I are classy people. Super yachts.
We want a super yacht. Turns out they're way more expensive than you
How
expect.
much is a super yacht?
Well, some super yachts are like 253 million.
Oh, is
but
that all?
yeah, but if you're looking at a just your standard yacht, you're kind of looking at like a $13 million year one purchase and then $2.5 million of upkeep a year.
What's your game plan? How are you gonna get there?
To get the yacht.
Yeah.
Well, we kind of figured it out.
How
So
many esport tournaments?
We
do you
decided that we would be willing to spend like 1/10 of our salary on a yacht.
Yep.
We thought that was reasonable.
Yep.
And so either Nick needs a $20 million job or I need a $20 million job. Or we need a $10 million job each and then be willing to combine our families into some weird 4 adult, 3 children scenario that all parties would be comfortable with. That's what we were going with, I think.
But it turns out, and I know you're desperate to get to the game, it turns out that yacht captains are paid by the yard.
Yeah.
So
yard.
you get paid per yard. It was like $1,400 a yard of a
year.
boat
Yeah.
per year.
They're
Isn't that-
practically running backs.
It's insane. They are. Yeah. So there you go. All right. Well, let's talk about the schedule, the games that we have coming up. Let's get that up and see who's playing, who they're playing, and everything else. Legacy versus Order. Game number 1. Game 2, Gravitas taking on Mammoth. Game 3, Direwolves versus Pentanet. And rounding out the eve, Chiefs versus Avant Gaming. Boys, what are we excited for?
That's 4 bangers.
It really is.
I'm excited for game 2.
I'm excited for game 2 as well.
It's just so good. I could not be more excited for a game of League in my life. I've been smiling all day knowing it's coming.
You get to cast it?
Yeah.
That's very exciting.
And there's a lot of questions that are going to be asked, obviously, from all the Twitter analyzers, all the predictions, all the power rankings, getting to sort of see some fully fledged rosters now, getting some pretty great games to start this first week off. So getting the ball rolling, getting the results out there, getting some synergy flowing, and sort of having a bit more of an understanding as to really where these teams should be
And obviously,
placed at.
game number 1 is Order versus Legacy, but it doesn't really matter for you because you've
We just
already
won.
had an Order win.
It got me so excited.
You were so invested in a game that happened 3/4 of a year ago.
I do you know what it is?
Please.
I love Tally.
Yeah.
He's always been one of my favorite players, and he is one of the few people that I have ever seen that plays professional League of Legends. Sorry, we're going back to this camera shot. That plays professional League of Legends. That can just genuinely 1v9 a game. And like, it's such a joy to watch someone he was huge in that game. He was 6 items when Swiper was 3. Now, obviously, that's not going to happen today because Swiper's now on my team. But that was a very fun game to watch.
What do you reckon Tally's doing right now? He was in the chat yesterday.
question.
I
He's
don't know.
been streaming lately,
Yeah, he's
right?
been
I know
streaming.
that.
Yeah.
Tally, if you're watching, let me know what you're doing. Send a picture. All right, let's get into the lineup for game number 1, Legacy versus Order. We'll start off with Legacy. Let's see who's under the tree. Rusty.
I'm under the tree. I wanted to go Little Mermaid there. I'm not going to. Topu is the top laner for them. Babip in the jungle. M&S, pretty good first game for him. The mid laner for Legacy. And Raze and Isles rounding out the rest of the team. And I would say it was a shaky game from them yesterday. I think that should be universally accepted because they were meant to come in and smash. That was the expectation.
Yeah, I think M&S definitely, maybe not as convincingly as he would have wanted to on a debut.
I mean, he went 7-0-9 or something. So, you know what? I'll give it to M&S.
I'll say, but I feel like you definitely need, when you put that much hype into somebody, you really need to see a fair few consistent results at that level. I guess the big thing for me really was the fact that how bot lane really worked against them. Avant were just flashing in with, like an Aphelios leading the charge. They didn't care. Summoners weren't even that important. They were just picking up kills, doing Aphelios things. For me, that was the highlight moment. Maybe a few question marks with him going into the Dragon Pit and kind of throwing in that regard, but still. Aphelios.
Just brutal.
Aphelios. I don't know. Like,
I like it. He's holding everyone to a higher standard
The
than
guy
we're used
that
to.
played like a flawless game didn't die, not good enough. The guy that threw the
Not
game
because-
for Avant, also not good enough.
This guy, M&S, I spoke to him, right? Like, obviously, his English is so minute. It's my girlfriend's translating who's Korean. And he says, I'm such a timid guy. I'm so shy. I don't really talk. He was yarning away for a good 30 minutes, telling the entire life story about how he was raised and his parents. And hang on a minute. Here's some guy who's super driven. He's just going to retire after this and become a doctor, is what he told us. So this guy is like, oh, it's League of Legends. It's chill. I'm expecting big surgical things.
It's a ramble right there.
This is great.
That was fantastic.
Keep going.
We can hit him up once he becomes a doctor. We can hit him up for some yacht money.
Yes.
The lineup for the second team tonight, it is Order. We saw them earlier. This is basically an entirely new Order team. Jake, talk us through the points.
Yeah, it's going to be Big Swifts in the top lane, only in the jungle. Harry, previous Gravitas mid laner in the mid lane. It's going to be Rare 7, formerly known as Dream, just known as Ronin now, and Ayla in support.
I ran into Ayla upstairs when I saw that you guys were all wearing blue and changed out of my outfit to put on a blue shirt as well. He was on Twitter a couple of days ago drinking an ice cream through a straw. And I called him out on it and said that I would get him a competitive ban. Didn't happen, but it's still in the works. Ayla, very excited for today.
He is. He's really pumped up, actually. Bill's one of those players that just loves to play against the best teams and always be able to test himself. He's so super driven. So I think that he really does live for moments like this. Like, he would be very excited to play against Raisin Isles, who we as a team consider one of the best bottom lanes in the comp.
And I would say all of Order were excited today. They practically sprinted into the building.
Except one of them, Ronan was very scared of a spider at the front door.
Yeah, that's why they sprinted into the building.
Yeah, right. Oh, I totally missed that.
Yeah.
Oh, it was such subtle
For those
shade
that
thrown.
didn't see, there was like a big huntsman. Like, it could have eaten you.
Like literally your hand size, right?
Yeah.
It was monster.
They're all cowards. We'll be right back after the short break for game number 1.
Alright, well let's kick it off with game number 1 of, well, 4 bangers today really, Rusty. Let's not beat around the bush in that one. Order taking on Legacy, both with a W to start this season off. Both will be looking to be the one that continue that streak and go 2-0 in week number 1.
Yeah, Order able to get that first win over Gravitas yesterday. They looked very clean. It's fair to say that Order looked very well practiced and well versed in not just the draft that they put together for themselves with the play style on Summoner's Rift. They never really were challenged too much. There were moments, but in the end they always looked good. Legacy, in contrast to that, were quite shaky. They didn't really feel up to scratch on the expectations for what is meant to be the #1 team in all the power rankings coming into the tournament. If AV were better practiced themselves, they could have won that game. That's scary to start this one off. So this game, big test for both teams. Order against real competition. Legacy taking on Order off the win. Momentum-based team always as well, and looking to shore up themselves.
Yeah, and I think really if you're a fan of either one of these teams, you're looking at this one as really a go-to, as a sort of a surefire indication as to sort of where these teams are at, what we should be expecting from them, and sort of the level of preparation. Not even that, just the level of synergy too. We talked a little bit about, or maybe I was a little too critical of M&S, but really this guy has such potential. He showcased it overseas, showcased it now in day number 1.
Yeah,
so really looking forward.
Korean advice on him. You have full Korean
Look,
advice on him.
You have to. I mean,
7-0, 8-0.
it's just crazy. That is the level of discipline, or sort of like the high standards they hold themselves to. They're just never satisfied.
Absolutely, but he's a prodigy. He's coming through. We'll see how good he can continue to be. We're yet to see his champion as we are 3 picks into this draft right now. Order with an opportunity to respond to the Nautilus that has now been locked.
Yeah, Nautilus is an interesting one. Always going to find that love, always going to be that sort of game changer that can find that initiation. I think this really does suit the likes of what Legacy will be after. Gives them some strong threat, gives them the ability to peel away. But the Zaya Rakan coming on in, looking to dance away, get the Feather Storms coming on out, and looking to be elusive if, say, a dive comp comes across.
Yeah, and a good response overall here from Order. So the one thing that Legacy have in spades is engage. They just have so much engage to the first 2 champions they've locked in. Zaya is also quite good at handling both Ornn and Nautilus regarding engage. Maybe not both at the same time, right? But has the ultimate, can counter that one out. So they've just picked themselves up a strong bottom lane that works with the Zaya, which was the best reactive pick for them at that moment.
Yeah, and I think in a meta that's been heavily dominated recently by the likes of Senna, Aphelios, and Misfortune, it's a nice heads-up play to switch things around and say, look, hey, if you're going to go for a composition that can get in our face, we're going to be ready to tackle that one. We saw what Harry could do yesterday on that LeBlanc. The guy was acting as if he was a bruiser, getting amongst the team and just sort of forcing out so much pressure.
He was one-hitting people. Harry was having a field day on Summoner's Rift yesterday, and I spoke to Rare afterwards, and he said Harry was just giggling. It was just the best time.
You could tell.
He was having so much fun. And that's a very good thing for them, you know. Harry also a very good player when he has his champions. That Yasuo is something that was very quickly banned once again. I don't think he'll see it.
I don't think we'll see it this split unless Harry decides to stop playing it, but I'm sure that is not something on the cards just yet. Another Lee Sin obviously kicking things off. The most heavily involved of the junglers so far as two bans go across towards the Rek'Sai and the Elise, choking out that spot. Wondering whether now Order do the same for the bottom lane ADC and go for either a Senna or a Philios ban.
Yeah, Elise and Rek'Sai, two very aggressive junglers taken away here from Only. That one, to me, does stand out. You know, Only is one of those Lee Sin players and has also been notoriously just a very good farming style jungle player. But with all of these junglers taken off the board, maybe he wants to go towards something like the Gragas, which I don't think is a bad choice here. Some magic damage would be quite nice for them. And it opens up Hayri to play whatever he would like in mid lane in terms of damage mix.
And they have opted for the Varus takeaway, so obviously Senna is available if need be. Looking to basically remove as many sieging tools, poke tools, and just hard engage tools. Obviously the wrap that he can come across with on that ultimate is so frustrating, I suppose is the best way to put that across.
And I think Senna's an okay pick. For me, like, Senna has a lot of damage, but now they're very reliant, Legacy, on Raze getting that lead, getting that advantage. We didn't mention this champion. Very surprised that it's up and available.
And I would like it.
Foremost.
I would really like it going into this comp, because what is the weakness of a Senna? It's the fact that you need to gap close. You need to get in her face and really punish her, otherwise she's so elusive from that backline and the ability to cross the map. So set would have been interesting. I know that would have got you nice and pumped on up, but we're not going to see it today.
I want punch-ons, man.
The 1v1 scrapped, the Twitter beefs settled in the Rift.
It is going to be the blind pick Orianna coming in here as well for Hayri. It's going to be rounded out with the Olaf. Not a big surprise, like mentioned. Only does love his farm junglers. Olaf's the perfect pick as well. All of the engage, the Lee Sin kick's not going to be able to work on him anymore, so it becomes a little bit harder. However, they have rounded the composition out here with some nice extra damage Legacy. It's not a consistent team fight style of DPS, you would have to say, from them. The tanks will be able to do a decent amount of that work themselves. All unsurprisingly good damage for a tank champion. But good pick, good setup, good siege, good ability to isolate someone and do some damage to them, like the Xayah, so that she can't be as relevant if a team fight were to even happen.
And this seems like a composition that's designed to sort of hunt you down. If you're looking to always go in those rotations for the 1-3-1 split that we know that Order are very well acquainted at, well, you've got the tools to always get in there. You know, Senna with her ultimate across the map, Nautilus and Lee Sin obviously with the initiating potential, and then the Ornn for the disruption that can come across with that elemental. Based on these two drafts, I mean, we've got two fairly different ideas going into this one, and I'm quite excited mainly on that mid lane matchup.
And I think we're looking at simplicity when it comes to engaging. Legacy are fine. They've got the tools that they need very easily to find those engages. But I think that Order's type of composition, and one of the reasons that I actually really like what they've put together for themselves, is that it's very good at saying you can engage.
Of
and
course.
we will still win the team fight.
We have the tools.
Xayah is just very good at kiting backwards and at being able to come back in a team fight. Orianna, if you're able to get the ball placement on the ground as well, is also very good at doing that. Aatrox, just a little bit of a jack of all trades. So realistic, the expectations I have for this game is that Legacy will be the ones to engage, Order will be the ones to respond to that engage in kind, and then we just get to see the mechanical execution on the play.
And I think people can get very sort of caught up in the idea that if you're playing reactively or you're playing proactively, you know, either style is better or worse. Order clearly come into this with an idea, with a very early pick, obviously in that bot lane Joy, to say, we want you to come at us. We want you to try and showcase how mechanically gifted you are, and we want to see what you can do. Now, obviously, we have Denian, Legacy's coach, back here again. We got to catch up with him yesterday. Fresh off the back of what? It was like an hour and 8-minute run this morning. You're a madman.
Yeah, you guys can't get enough of me, can you?
Just
Yeah,
stick with the mic.
An hour and 8 minutes. It was a bit rough. There was a lot of incline on that run, actually.
Yeah.
And so I was doing the run with Minky, and he was hoping for like a sub 50-minute run. He didn't even make it either. So we're all struggling on that run. It was a hard one.
I mean, the real struggle starts for you right now, doesn't it, after all the runs completed?
Yeah.
But well done on that. Let's take a second to look at this game as well, because it's a big one for you guys.
Yeah,
It was,
yeah.
I would say, shaky yesterday in terms of performance from Legacy. So how'd you bounce back for the game today?
Well, we identified the things that we had issues with in the last game, and a lot of it was we had these moments in the game where we were spending a lot of time in mid for no real purpose. And now I look at Order's draft, and I feel like that is a response to the issues we had last game. But it was our job to fix those issues. So this should be a draft that our team going into theirs, we should be able to pull them apart from the map. We don't need to just run at them 5v5. We have an ideal like jungle matchup, mid matchup. We're really happy.
And you'd have insight into this as well. You know, Order seems like the team that's very comfortable with the former Gravitas mid laner of Hayri going to those 1-3-1s. they've changed their style a little bit, like you mentioned. But now that you've kind of adapted and changed to their style, is this like a mix of flavors for you guys?
I do wonder if they're just afraid of M&S, right? Do you opt into a mechanics check into M&S? I think you don't. And this might be that response. Give him a safe champion that we can't counterpick very easily, that kind of goes into mid-game and doesn't try to 1v1 skill check M&S over and over again.
Interesting.
Definitely looking forward to this one. I suppose coming into this one, what is the general level of comfort? I mean, were there expectations coming into this split, knowing how much hype's been surrounding this team? Have they sort of felt that themselves, or even after game one, we'll decide it is what it is?
Oh, there's definitely expectations. Like you don't have Raze, not have expectations. You don't have Bip and not have expectations. Even the other players, they all have expectations, right? M&S coming to Australia from Korea, he has as much expectations as those other two I mentioned, if not more. They are all extremely hungry.
Yeah.
So if anyone was thinking, oh, Raze and Babip, they've already won the OPL, they've already done stuff. No, they want now more than ever to win.
And was the win yesterday a sigh of relief? Was it like a weight off the shoulders because you're finally playing League of Legends again? Like, do they feel more relaxed today?
I think M&S felt the most relaxed. I saw him come upstairs after the game, and he was just the most happy guy ever. We gave him a hug, pat on the back, say good job. He was so happy. The others, they were a bit more just kind of disappointed with how the game went, to be honest. Isles and Raze were especially disappointed with how they performed, and I think maybe today we'll have the revenge of Raze.
Beautiful. Well, we look forward to seeing you guys bounce back today. Thank you very much there, Denian.
Thanks for having me, mate.
All the best for the game, and I'm sure we'll catch up with you soon.
Yep.
I will say we're not sick of having Danian on, but I guess we are sick of having Spawn on being the head coach of Order while the other team playing in this game. So we don't need to speak to Spawn too much. We have all the time in the world to do that.
I like the point he brought up, though, about that drive and hunger from both Raze and Babip. You speak of that, and obviously you got Swiper there in the top lane for Order. Been around for such a long time, but let's hold that fort for 2 seconds because an initiation is going to take place. The flash has already gone out there from Isles, but Rakan's having none of that one. He jumps in, he gets the knock-up, and that's a first blood, bang on 4 minutes.
Yeah, unfortunately for Order, it was the Ignite, I believe, from Melee that secured that kill. I believe they were trying to give that one to Rare. Nevertheless, first blood goes over to the side of Order, and that's a big win for them because what happened during our interview with Denian was a lot of positives for Legacy in the way of that 2v2 in the bottom lane. So things start to shift around. Babip now just going to walk through the middle lane, just seeing if the opportunity was there. And let's take a second to look at that middle lane just a little bit further after the replay, because I'm silly and I should have knew this was coming.
After we catch this one out here, I suppose this is the major change from Season 10 with that Conclave being present, the ability to hide on out there, not commonly warded as you would imagine. And you can see Babip was on his way down there to sort of be the initiator. A few seconds too late for that one.
Yeah, being able to use the Disco Nunu dance floor is a pretty nice thing for junglers who don't always have ease of gank. You know, like an Olaf runs at you, that's the way he's going to try and get the gank off. Hit an axe and you are in. You can use that L code more effectively in that regard.
I suppose it's a bit concerning now for the bottom lane as they will be at a summon a disadvantage with both of their flashes burnt away. And Rare has opted for the teleport, so they're going to be opting for triple teleports across the board here. They really want to bring together a global threat, make sure that this game cannot sort of fall away from them, and if they want to sort of resume that 1-3-1 split, then they have the ability to always emit pressure.
And thank you to the observers for keeping that lane on the screen for a while there as well, just so that the viewers are able to understand exactly what is happening. It's a LeBlanc against an Orianna. It was spoken towards by Denian a little bit as well. It's the safe option there from Order for sure. You know, it's a teleport Orianna, yes, not going to be a 1-3-1 type champion though. It's an Orianna. LeBlanc's gone for Ignite. Is going to look for those kills, try and have some lane control, some lane threat, and maybe unlock Babip in certain ways through that potential priority that you start to get. And there's a slight CS advantage that was there. It's only slight as top lane. They're on.
Well, we're going to see the flash engage to start things off with as he teleports on in. The ultimate to try and secure that one. They're not going to find it. Babip not level 6 himself. Sonic Wave unable to connect, and that's a lot of resources thrown at top lane, which gives Olaf free of the mill to run around this jungle and camp.
Quite an unusual trade there in the end from Legacy, from Topud in particular. The ultimate doesn't connect the second part at the very least, so they're not able to follow through with enough damage to get that kill, but it was close. It does still force Swiper back, but at a weird time where he may even teleport to bottom straight after. He's going to walk back to top lane, and he does miss a bit of wave, but Order are responding very well in kind.
Yeah, and that all really falls off the backside of what happened in top lane. Now they have so much free pressure to really perform this. Mid lane was pushed on in, allowing Harry to come on down. A 4-man push, taking at least 2 tower plates, and bot lane are abusing the fact they're ahead in this matchup.
I really love the idea of mechanics checking Evidence, as that hook actually hits.
It does indeed. The shield to start things off with, an Ignite coming on out to try and get that kill onto Isles, who won't have a heal and he won't have a life. He's going to go on down. Babbitt this time is here. The flash comes out. He flashes on forward. He's going to get that kill. He finds Vengeance in the bot lane. Now they're looking for a double kill. Can they save it for Raze? Yes, they can. Assault to his name, and bot lane is equalized.
The number advantage is the biggest win in the end here. Babbitt being in the location of bot lane to get the kills. As Isles hits one of these hooks, and I'm telling you, he hits this. I have no idea how he hits this, but the second he does, he's probably thinking to himself, ah, crap. I threw this. I didn't actually think it would hit, but number advantages were there as we're fighting again.
We are fighting again. I was just going to say, when you look at the observation, only it actually literally just finished recalling, so that could have been a very different situation if he had hung around, as Tapoon will not want to hang around, being at a lethal health.
Yeah, Swiper dies. Tapoon almost dies in response. The axe just missing there from only barely. Tapoon's able to clear that wave, go back to base. We're just getting a lot of little skirmishes now left, right, and center from both of these teams. As we'll see what happened in top lane this time. So it is Swiper that dies. Let's find out exactly how. As I believe he's just going to try and bait to try and make Tapoon go forwards, as Only is making his way here. And suddenly, Unsealed Spellbook, Ignite, Ornn has the center ultimate as well. Very well done from Legacy cross-map play and utilizing that Spellbook.
And it's beautiful coordination, the fact that he charges forward to juke out the route from Aatrox, coordinating that there with Raze to get that kill and turn things around. And it seems to be very much a case of both teams feeling quite aware of the jungle threat there is there, but always finding those millisecond differences to engage or find those kills before it can actually take effect.
I mean, a couple of those instances were, like, the deaths were trying to set up for jungler.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
So they are still aware of where the map and state is. It's just a little bit of either a mechanical mistake or just timing things 1 second earlier, 1 second later, whatever it is. Doesn't matter too much in the end. Because the gold actually hasn't shifted at all. CS still pretty much even as well.
It's been an incredibly even game so far, and as you say, I think this is the biggest thing for me to take away from this matchup. As you are looking at some of these top teams, you're looking to sort of see, well, there has been all these power rankings thrown around. Where are the mechanics at? What can we look forward to, and who should be the MVPs to keep your eyes on, as we're now going to start to see the members split away, with M&S shifting towards the bottom lane, continuing to keep a healthy CS advantage over Harry.
Yeah, and he's able to do that very easily, being Villablanc, wanting to go to those side lanes and then threaten people on transit through lanes, through the river, even potentially to get those picks is a big deal for the team of Legacy. For an Orianna, you never really want to sit in that side lane if you can avoid it, but at a certain point you have no choice, so he's just lucky that he's got the teleport. It's a very good choice from him in terms of summoners at the start of the game.
Yes, indeed, as it looks like Legacy are trying to set themselves up for a Drake right now. That's going to be the disruption onto what would have been a dash away as Ayla falls on down. Isles finding vengeance for what happened in that bottom lane just shortly before. Opens up mid lane as bot lane can now push on through and try and get some pressure onto mid.
At center is such a pain for Azai to deal with. Having the Glacial Augment there anytime the Q connects on a champion that doesn't have the most mobility and is a medium range champion, slows him down, and then Nautilus gets to just waddle up to you and say, you either block this hook, Rakan, and you die, or it's going to be bad for your AD carry. And that kind of continues and continues through the game and does make the middle area difficult for Order unless they have numbers.
All right, well, it's round 2 in the top lane right now. Is only coming on in to try and force this thing out. He's got both those buffs available to him. The center ultimate to try and delay the inevitable, but it isn't going to be enough. Both members healthy, both members able to push on through with a Rift Herald and take this tower down.
Yeah, this will be a lot of plates at the very least. They've also got a third member roaming up from Ayla. Support position here. So Rakan's going to get there if they need the extra damage to break the turret. It doesn't look like he's going to go up there at all. The rest of Legacy are moving. There's no real intent to save the turret, so they just get it.
Yep, not really fussed about this one at all. Most members have recalled and got themselves reset after claiming that Mountain Drake. But still, the gold is incredibly close. Well, I say that until it goes down.
Well, to me, the difference is about like the meaning behind the plays, right? There's been kills going back and forth between both teams. A couple of them have just been, I have found a pick onto the Rakan and he dies, and that's all we get, right? It's gold, and it's still good to have that gold, definitely. A 2-0 Lee Sin is always going to be a big threat now in the mid-game. But Order get the kill and they get a turret with it because they had the Herald earlier. And they got the Herald because Legacy were making a play for just the kill elsewhere on the map. You know, like these are things that have to be considered through the rest of this game, is what is that impact? Because for that play, it wasn't just one kill, it was a turret, and it was a lot of time for free farming in bot lane for Harry, which was much needed when you can see the CSD between them.
Yeah, the differential between the two of them right now has been fairly large, but I think the biggest thing for me to keep an eye on and for you at home is obviously how these team fights do take place. We talked about before Legacy being a composition that want to get in your face, want to exert the mechanical prowess and sort of showcase what they can do, whereas Order almost welcome that threat. So you want to come at us, and we're ready to take you on with the ultimates at their disposal, with their two beefy frontliners that can get in the way and cause some backline disaster. It's going to be quite interesting to see how it happens the first time and then how the adaptations take place later.
And where? Where is the fight going to be first and foremost? You know, the next Dragon about to come up reasonably soon, I would hope. That could be a place that they'll actually start to look towards for the next fights. I think objectives are a great thing for Legacy to use as avenues for fights, but it also is like, and like mentioned in draft where Order are comfortable having Legacy come towards them, that's true, but put a Dragon in front of both of them and suddenly the opportunity to engage is there for them as well. You know, you've got the Rakan, you've got the Shockwave. And so I think that's the place that will always start to gravitate towards for both of these teams. It just won't be... It won't be the Oceanic ARAM as an engage tool as much. It'll be one side of the coin saying, let's just separate the map, split them up, get some picks. And then Order in this case being like, let's just comfortably sit in mid lane and see if they want to come at us.
Yeah, and I say that's what Denny had mentioned that they've been working on a fair bit, trying to close things out a little bit more as we see what potentially is our very first 1v1 in the top lane. Pings are furiously spawning around top river. Babip coming for a second try. At this one, the Shockwave gets juked out. M&S using that clone to juke, but he jukes himself as Harry gets the kill underneath the tower. Babip does secure the return, but it's a beautiful 1v1.
Yeah, tries to get in there, dodges the Shockwave, does pretty well M&S, and unfortunately for him, he could have lived. He just chooses not to flash away. Disrespects the damage that Harry has, the fact that the barrier was there for the Spellbook mid laner as well, and he's able to trade.
Advantage Order right now, and they know it. Coming on through here with the vision to check out where Legacy are at. They're going to go and start off what could be this red buff. It's going to be a mess coming out here from Raze, but it's not going to be enough. No threat, really, to dissuade Order from sticking around here.
Yeah, the whole jungle's been taken away. Struggling there, Babip, in terms of jungle control. You can see a CS difference actually stretching quite a large amount between junglers.
Yep.
We'll get to see what happens again in the top lane. M&S engages this with the dive. Harry's trying to clear the wave, and I fully respect that decision. Wants to get the Shockwave off, and he just lives for so long that he gets another whole rotation of spells off, and that was the difference there.
Yeah, as you say, flash and he lives, but holds it on for another day. Still retains that CS advantage, 30 and healthy. Now we start to see with Drake being up in the next minute. Rift Herald has spawned. Babip instantly pounces upon it.
Yeah, second Herald of the game. Dragon up very soon as well. You can see there's under a minute till it spawns. And so it will just be objective to objective. It's not a direct trade here available from Order. They're looking towards bot lane outer turret damage. Breaking that, opening the map, not a bad choice from them.
And I don't really mind it. I mean, given the composition has this ability to rotate through so many different summoner spells, specifically that teleport, the more options you have across that map, the more flanking, the more ability to try and cause Legacy those sort of panic moments, unsure where the threat's coming from, and finding them having to be, suddenly on the back foot instead.
Swiper's gone real deep here to clear another wave, just one more wave before he perhaps goes to the Dragon or goes back to base. They're looking at Raze right now, it seems. Yeah, he's in trouble.
He's in between a rock and a hard place, and that's what Order want. They're excited. You can see Rare on the face cam there screaming away with the hype. Instantly collapsing onto mid lane. The outer is gone. Drake has spawned. It's a cloud at that. And this will do dividends for them in a composition that wants to be elusive. We're talking Featherstorm, Shockwave, as you mentioned. This plays right into their hands.
And I'll tell you this just straight out. If Order is smiling, they seem the most dangerous. That's just what this team strikes me as right now. And it wasn't just the pop-off from Rare once they get a pick onto Raze. You could see that Only was having a laugh as well. It just seems like the atmosphere once again is fantastic from them. They get the kill in a very similar way to how Rare died yesterday, it feels like, when they were playing against Gravitas. So It's a nice little redemption for them and nets them the objectives.
Well, the map gets pretty. It's Ocean Drakes from here on out, so sustained for the ability to split push around. Similar to what we saw in their competition for Order yesterday. Quite nice for them in that regard, but as you mentioned, yeah, Olaf, the king of the jungle, he's definitely displaying that. Despite not having the most impact in terms of kills, he is definitely pumping away in the gold department.
I mean, he's had a pretty solid impact throughout the map, even though the scoreline is 0-0-3. Yes, he's been doing plenty of work. Now, Legacy looking with this second Herald to perhaps place it here. They know that there's a ward in that bush, so they're trying to buy their time. M&S is on.
He wants to force it. The flash is great because it jukes out that chain. Shockwave getting completely juked on out. 3 members getting involved. This time the Elemental does collapse. The Rift Herald will find value in that top lane. Both summoners being burnt by Harry in that trade at the same time.
And it's exactly what we were talking about with an Orianna not wanting to be in a side lane. Look what happens. Look what Legacy do the second he appears there. As it may have to be an ult there from Only as well, and it is. Order are here. They may try and take this.
They may indeed. There's little to no cooldowns available right now if you're a Legacy fan. Only is running in. He's going to try and make things happen. Raze is coming to this fight rather late. The heal comes across. It's not going to be enough. So far, so good. It's a 1-for-1 trade. Isles goes golden, but the shutdown is there. Babbitt falls on down. Zarya finds a kill on towards that Nautilus, and Raze jumping like a ghost. He's in mist form. He's running. He needs to be a ghost because the boys in red, the boys from Melbourne, they are absolutely popping off, screaming and shouting, jumping out of their chair, and having a damn good time, Rusty.
And that's a massive team fight win from Order. It's against Legacy as well. It was against the Grain. They were getting the top lane out of turret Legacy in order to say this is the fight that we want, and very well done from them. Raze does get a big shield, but it's not damaged. And there just isn't really damage being put down here onto the relevant members of Order, which is primarily rare in this team fight. He just puts down so much damage. Swiper's left untouched almost, just pushing away Raze. And this is something that was highlighted through the draft, actually. Once the comp was locked in by Legacy, it's not really a comp that really wants a team fight too much. You want to pick someone off and then consider the team fights. But they just have the front to back, and you can see what happens.
They stuck around, and they were punished. And this is sort of what I was alluding to maybe, say, 5 minutes before, about a composition that is ready to sort of take those fights and be jumped upon. Well, they were leading the charge with some, defensive tools that can also be used aggressively. So that was the major team fight that we were sort of looking for. Where did it come around? It wasn't a neutral. It was an extension in the top lane after a pick. So both teams, surefire understanding their conditions.
That's 100% a turning point in the game, right? That's now a ridiculous advantage for the 80 carry of Order. 5-1 with his Infinity Edge done. Needs to upgrade those brown leather bags soon. Once he's got the boots on, he'll be ready to go. Objectives are the next place that you look at with the advantages that they have. How can they actually make this happen on the map? And can Hayri stay alive just a little bit longer and survive in these side lanes? As Legacy have made the game plan so clear. And we're murdering you in the side.
Babbitt will be safe, has the ability to jump to M&S if need be. He goes for the smite. It's looking like he's just going to sacrifice himself at this stage. Not going to draw in another member. He finds himself wanting to pick, but unfortunately gets picked upon. It starts to really play into the game of, Legacy. If they want to continue this, they need to really get this vision up to secure such what seem to be scary, scary situations.
I mean, this became a case of fool me once, shame what you type things. I mean, you do it 100 times, eventually they're going to bite back. Or to choose this time, Hayri, you're in a side lane, but you're not weak side, buddy. We've got you this time. And suddenly they find Babbitt, who was conveniently in the area. So again, very well done here from Order. Adapting, reacting, doing it all on the fly, and finding those opportunities.
Just take a stock check of the map right now, Rusty. I mean, you're looking at all these wards that come out from Order. They're so spread, just all across the map. All the wards that come out from Legacy are so deeply set back, so defensive. You start to wonder if questions are, in play for Legacy, of if they're, almost falling into what their plan is. They want to pick, but they're sort of now waiting for Order, being a sort of gank squad, to lead the charge for them to pick.
Yeah, perhaps. I mean, those wards are too defensive to really achieve anything besides the safety of your members, and that hasn't actually been working for them too much just yet. They've just got some wards now that they've snuck onto the Baron Pit itself, so at least they'll be able to see that objective or see when the wards are cleared, but that doesn't mean they'll be able to stop this, as it should just be free.
Yep, no contest on that one. you watch the mini-map, things are furious in mid lane, but you can just see there's that sort of that gentleman's agreement. I'll stick to my side if you stick to yours.
They will kill Raze if they get this opportunity.
They will. They're looking for it right there. The dash on in, the charm instantly goes into the mist, but they got boys in support. They're coming on through. Rare is looking for it. Rare will just secure. Of course he will. He's 6-1 on 4. Why would he not? Owls flashes across to his mid lane tower. He needs to survive. He gets interrupted. It's a beautiful double kill there. And it may not be done.
There, the teleports come in from Legacy just to defend the inhibitor turret if they can. But Order, they've got the momentum, they keep getting the picks, and it's so easy for them right now as they keep going.
This is just about to go from bad to worse right now as they just take out M&S. It really is the Rare show right now. He's 8-1. He kills anything that stands before him. The inhibitor, your team, potentially this game.
And he's got the stopwatch as well. So whilst Babip is hunting on this Lee Sin, very difficult for him to get the kills at all. Senna throws down the ultimate. It connects, but it doesn't do a lot of damage. There's no items really there for Raze at all.
Yeah, very little for him to really beef that spell up. Would have been a nice 1,000
Oh, well, that's just rude.
pick up. Babbitt. Looking now to re-establish some control as Order all reset with the amount of gold that they would have acquired on the back of that. And we see teleports a few as they re-establish themselves on this map and say double the kills.
You better clear that ward, Babip.
Double the map.
You best be clearing that ward, Babip.
But isn't it interesting from a psychological aspect? It almost feels like they're scared.
They are scared. They should be scared. You can't walk into anyone from Order right now. You're going to have a very bad time if you do. Raze is playing center. All he can really do is run away slightly faster than normal if he's spotted, and it's a Rakan with flash and ult that'll lock him down. So there is no good situation for them right now. If it's a 1-3-1 composition and your 3 can't do anything, you just have a bad time on Summoner's Rift unless something changes. And what that has to be is M&S getting a solo kill, or him coming towards the mid lane to change the dynamic of the game. Like that.
He's just going to get changed. Right like that. M&S getting rowdy. He gets a massive pickup as a result. The shutdown is beautiful. Can they get a second? The Swiper goes golden. He looks like a trophy. He's got many to his name. We will fall on down as well.
And Legacy, they get the control ward in the right place. They pick a bush. And Rare is the target who falls prey to that bush gank. They get the 1,000 gold onto M&S as well, which is a very important pickup for them. It's just very well timed, I will say, for what we thought was important for Legacy to find exactly what they needed. They are looking at Baron too.
We're talking about turning points beforehand in favor of Order. Right now, this could be a turning point for Legacy.
It'll be a 4v5. Rare has teleports so he can get to the fight. M&S, wow.
He's just jumping in. He doesn't have a single care in the world. The Shockwave is good. It will pick up the kill once again. It's a 1-for-1 so far. Both mid laners are gone. Can we find more? Babip is low, but it doesn't seem to be the case because the members of Legacy are jumping and driving. They're in the front line. Legacy's playing like he's a bruiser. Golden stopwatch is utilized all for nothing at this stage. Harry goes down, but the shutdown is good. Raze finds what he needs. Another stopwatch because we like telling you what the time is.
But who can
now,
stop Harry?
It's a scrappy 2v2. Don't tell me Harry lives. Of course he doesn't. Tapoon gets in there. He's utilizing that brittle charge as much as he can. He wants to try and be the god. He wants to try and be the cleanup crew. But he's just going to go ring around a rosy.
We'll just do circles for a little while. This could be a pretty long chase. It's very hard to get away from an Aatrox. So sooner or later, Tapoon will die. It's just going to buy as much time as he can. Swiper with a little bit of a BM there as well to buy some extra time. And Order, they bounce back. Legacy choose to do the Baron. They started up and then immediately respond into the area. The teleport comes in from Rare, and you'll get to see how the rest of this team fight goes. As they started off well, and note during all of this, Harry's just littering down damage, but you can see how much Rare does when he gets the opportunity and how much time he buys to allow Harry to make these plays and do as much as he possibly can.
And it's a similar performance from him, isn't it, really? It's the same as what we saw last game, where he was just able to run the show on his terms, on his conditions, and pump out damage. If you're going to go for Rare, well, hey, I can still do damage as well. And there is a question asked, potentially M&S not calculating that one as quickly as he would have liked. They started the Baron, he went out for a quick pick. That quick pick suddenly going against them.
And there are so many things at play here in terms of what Legacy have done, because they just got a 1,000 gold shutdown onto the LeBlanc, and they got a second shutdown when they killed Swiper, and they didn't spend that gold before they went for the Baron. They just went to the Baron to try and say, we have the numbers advantage, let's play this out.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's very easy to say for them in retrospect, maybe I should have spent the 1 million gold that I just got from killing Rare, who has teleport, and came into the fight with as many items as he could possibly have.
Now is this the moment? With items in hand, Baron down to 2k. Order will slow things down, obviously not wanting to play into smite range, but they do steal it away. Babbitt picks it up. That's absolutely insane right there as Raze gets the first kill. It's support for support as Rakan falls on down. Legacy say it's round 2, baby. This time we get kills.
Oh, they don't just steal the Baron, they get a 2-for-0 trade as well. Disaster for the side of Order as they're the ones making the call to do the Baron, and it's just taken from underneath them so easily. Very split decision from them in that they were fighting and doing the Baron at the same time. Unfortunately, both backfire.
Oh, if you're a Legacy fan, your heart can start beating again. They're back in it. They've got the Baron. Let's see how close this came down to.
Yeah, Babip is the one, I believe, who gets in and tries to steal it. Topu switched to Smite, but doesn't have Flash, so I'm honestly not sure what he's doing. So he's just going to sit there with Smite, try and kill people. Nice little steal there, of course. And then you look at the top side of this fight where it's happening, where Rakan and an Aatrox are trying to make plays against the rest of Legacy, and they just stand and deliver the damage.
Yep, the Shockwave and the Featherstorm, arguably two of the most important ultimates for Order to utilize. Unable to really find any value or an opportunity to utilize them. So credit to Legacy. They're back in this one, 2 for 2 with the Dragons and a Baron to boot. Game plan back on.
Yeah, and also scaling into the game really well. So they've got Ornn at level 15. He's starting to get the Ornn item upgrades, not just on himself, of course, at level 12, but now for all of his teammates. He's got the Wraith Blade available now for Raze that has been picked up. The Black Cleaver has also been upgraded for Babip, and mid lane can definitely get that very shortly also. And now they're in the driver's seat, the extra gold value that comes to them. When you look at their scaling as a team, it's not something that you say, oh, wow, that's pretty strong scaling, but they get the side lane set up. The money was in the right places, and now they're able to put their composition into full effect.
Back to business as they can push these lanes out. The amount of towers they were able to achieve off those back-to-back plays. I mean, mid lane is still sitting. Now finally, it'll find some love, and it'll take a beating, and it will fall on down, but Order are still on the driving seat when it comes to an economy.
That's a 28-minute outer turret in mid lane that was finally taken down.
Yeah.
That's late.
Very.
It's just proof that, you know, this is the type of game, it was in Order's hands. It's still not out of their hands by any means. But what it took was a steal and a mistake from their opponents to get back into the game, Legacy. And once again, in a game that you should say they should be coming in favorites and expected to win, has been very shaky so far.
Feels a little bit like a hot potato game right now. 1 minute it's Orders, the next minute it's Legacies.
The Baron Pit is not the place to be in this game.
So, no objectives available at this stage. So it seems to be, or at least Raze, questioning with the rest of his team in River, are we going for the final adder? Are we going to bot lane and finishing what we did start?
Yeah, they're actually choosing not to show on the map until they get some priority in the middle lane. You can see that Order are respecting them and backing away. And it's going to be Babip pushing that wave, but no one else shows until the wave is clear.
MNS is hanging out in that red bush. There's no wall to spot him, but he will jump across into a control ward, and the damage onto Ayla is disgusting. Guardian will proc and he will survive. But that's what MNS is looking for.
Absolutely. The chain's missing is one of the biggest reasons there that they don't get the kill, unfortunately. Super close there, however, from MNS. And good plays positioning-wise. Just sitting in areas where there is Fog of War, protecting his team, utilizing the composition the best they can. He's also got his Luden's upgrade now, the pulse is there.
Yeah, my point exactly. I'd say more Ornn upgrades coming across, and you know, as you say, scaling or not, definitely going to start to add more of a punch when some of these fights have come down to the wire.
And it's one of those things, like you look at the gold between both of these teams, it's like 700 in favor of Order, but if you consider Ornn items, Legacy are realistically up like 3,000, 4,000 gold, you know? And that's a lot.
Realistically, they are. I mean, they pack such a big punch. No Dragon to contest right now. But now they are, well, if you're Legacy anyway, they're looking for picks, and the confidence that Order absorbed from the first, say, 20 minutes, I don't want to say it's dissipating, but they're unable to get away with the confidence they had before.
Oh, that damage.
Strong to start things off with. There's the teleport comes across. Rare with the Featherstorm. It's just
He's
not going to do anything. He gets clapped by the center. The Ornn Horn coming on down, looking for the gauge, looking for the fight. only zoned on out with a Guardian Angel, and he needs an Angel to survive this one, because it's going to be a 4v5 siege going through mid lane. Equalizer the inhibitor that Legacy lost earlier in this game. They want blood.
And they are hitting that point where the range from center from Raze is far too great for Isaiah to deal with. They're able to just get a little bit of extra damage on him. Suddenly it becomes the team fight through the health advantages, and bam, they get the kills. Inhibitor drops as well, and the pressure mounts more and more. And that's a perfect timing on an inhibitor as Super starts to come out of the base just before the Baron, just before the Dragon.
Yep, both teams desperately, well, I say desperately, will be keen, I should rephrase, to pick up that next Dragon and put themselves on Soul Point. But this does give them a fair bit of priority in mid lane, give them some breathing room, and give them the ability to be in the driving seat that is Legacy to force these neutral objectives.
A very comfortable position now for Legacy, and how quickly that started to shift into their favor. Just off that one momentum swing of a Baron, stealing 2 kills. Shows how confident they are, how good they are as individuals, of course.
You do feel for the Zarya though, the innate weakness of being so close. Had to flash to try and find some value out of that Feather Storm, but just popped.
I mean, yeah, it's actually pretty hard to be Isaiah as the game progressed against his opponent. Still very good, has the utility of the ultimate, very useful for denying the engaged tools, but it's hard to stop damage from M&S, as right now they see Topu and they don't see the rest of them until that exact moment where they ward the bush, and now they run up mid lane. Oh my god!
My. Raze is a monster. He's reached that point, Rusty. He really has. Now they're looking for more and more. They're on the hunt for Rare, who's just getting 2 shots. The damage is insane right now. He has only in the backside. He needs to pull. They flip the script. They go for Raze. They shut him down. They need these kills. They want these kills. And they will get them, saving Private Ryan. Oh my gosh, losing my mind.
Well, the Private's dead. Legacy find him on the backside of the fight as well, near the blue buff. Rare does die. However, good moves from Order. That's exactly what you have to do. Senna has a lot of range, has a lot of damage. We just saw that, but has no mobility. You find her with an Aatrox or a Rakan engage, and it was both in this case. You can lock him down.
Legacy happy with this one. Despite the skirmish that did just take place.
This takes a long time, by the way. It's just 3 tanky boys hitting the Baron. We did elevator music or something.
They want the world to see, because they haven't taken out that spotter.
And their damage is hanging out base, yeah.
Raze respawns, times it nicely for the buff. Powered recalls, shot, and be just in time for the next inhibitor.
Harry gets 1 tap there by Raze. 2 crits, throws the Q in there in the middle. Rare definitely out of position at this moment. Raze with red buff, want to hit the rapid fire cannon proc, and does. But from that moment, Swiper uses the ult to try and save his teammate, and they very successfully close the distance to get onto Raze. Lee Sin kick also seemingly helping assist, maybe just a little bit to bring it in closer, and then LeBlanc surprise, as you'd expect.
I think really that's the best case scenario for Order in a situation like that, in a close quarter environment. That really played into their hand when Rare was able to survive and then allow them to, you know, turn things around and to get that engage.
I mean, it was best case scenario until they finished the Wolf Camp, and unfortunately tied with that as well. Still well and truly in the game, just becoming more and more difficult with each passing minute. Raze seemingly powering up to an infinite amount. It's not a surprise because he is center after all.
Mid and hip still down. Vision game becomes important, especially in this bottom half of the map. As they systematically clear these lanes out, the final of the outers of Orders is potentially going to fall on down, especially with Baron empowered minions, that's for sure.
Big moment here though for Order in terms of item spikes. 4th major item completed by Rare. He has the Bloodthirster, so something that'll be very vital for staying alive before a team fight starts. Have that overshield, have that life still there, and now means that LeBlanc has to do a lot of damage for it to be meaningful, or just kill threat. Because if you don't kill him and he has something to auto attack, always going to be full health. So that's a big deal for them. And it's 4 items starting to creep across the board for a lot of the members, and Orianna will always hit that point. You get those items, you hit a shockwave, people die.
Siege begins. M&S going to look to emit some pressure as they hang around. No members truly committing to this tower, but those cannons, especially as beefy as they are right now, are packing a punch.
Babeb just putting the mechanics max on right now, dashing around everywhere, threatening, keeping them busy. Tower will definitely drop on this wave. It's so hard to stop a center, first of all, because she can cue the wave and has stupid amounts of range. 36 minutes in.
This is the longest game we've had in the OPL so far. I suppose very early days to say that, but you kind of expect it from a team, or from both these teams, at such stature that it wouldn't be so clear-cut and stompy.
Legacy always strike me as the calm team fighting type of team. M&S seems to be the one wild card in that mix.
Yes.
So it'll never surprise me to see a game go this long, and against the team fight composition, I feel like it does make a little bit of sense that we've gotten to this point. As M&S has changed his target for poke, it's now Ayla. He has realized that there's just no point hitting Zaya anymore.
Sets himself up incredibly well right now. They can go through, deny as many camps as possible, clear out the vision, look to wait for that respawn on Drake, which is up in, say, the next minute or so. Now about 15, so they can time this out pretty well. They have passive pressure through the lanes, no jungle for them to clear, order in a bit of a Hail Mary attempt.
Yeah, this Dragon's actually a pretty big deal. Order looking for Soul Point. Legacy will put a lot of their focus towards that. It means that it's going to be bot side vision as the primary objective currently. Not sure how far away the Baron is just yet, but it doesn't look like this could ever be contested. You can see the wards by Legacy through the red side quadrant of Order's jungle. There's no way they want to go through there safely. It's dark.
I suppose now we put ourselves in a situation, we're playing for Baron.
Yeah, and eventually, because we are at Soul Point for both teams, there's no Elder yet. If we get to that point where one more Dragon's taken, Elder will be on the board, but you're right, it's just Baron.
It really is at this stage, given how close it is. You've got the win conditions already opened up with those inhibitors ready for the taking. You get a decisive wipe at this stage of the game with the respawn timers being as high as they will. You're looking to end.
Yeah, game's over. Baron already gave Legacy 2 inhibitors, so definitely something that will enable them to get the last one if possible. In the meantime, the way that they've assigned themselves around the map is everybody goes to the top lane. Order clearing some vision on the bottom side of River. Not really in position to defend this wave just yet, but there's no Baron buff, so if they get access to do damage to it, then they can take the wave apart. They're very late. Actually, look at Ayla. That's a very deep Rakan. He will be spotted by wards.
He will. Legacy may just tone on him straight away. He's popped that Shrellis, he's jumped in for the charm. They've put every bit of resource into this one right now. Swiper popping in that flash, trying to make something happen. He's taking so much damage as a result. He's not finding what he thought would be the dream situation. Jay getting popped double time very quickly on this could spell disaster for Order right here. This could be the team fight Legacy been looking for. But there's so much damage across the board. Legacy are flinching, surviving on health bars that are sub 10%. Boys are standing up, Raze is punching his screen. That is a victory if I've ever seen it from a man that had started off slow in this game, but by the end, Rusty, by the end, packing big punches.
Very excited is the side of Legacy as they are able to get the victory. 39 minutes is a very long game for them, but what matters the most is that they kill the Nexus and they take down Order.
A beautiful game there for Legacy. It had its ups and downs, the ebb and flow.
Raze almost took out his screen.
He nearly knocked the camera over. I was looking at a body cam for a second and I thought he is one happy man.
OPL's over for the day. Raze has decided that screen is his enemy. You don't want to be Raze's enemy. But he gets going, he's insanely good.
Both teams coming into day number 2 with a win apiece, only one able to keep that undefeated streak going into the second week, and it will be Legacy with all the hype surrounding them, able to achieve just that.
That's really what it came down to for Legacy here in this game as well, was just buying time, trying to get those items, trying to get the range, it seems like most importantly for Raze. It was all about him in the end. Lots of pressure from M&S, definitely, but you saw the picks, you saw the man who set it all up.
Yeah, there was definitely moments of madness and magic from them in the early game, but it seemed to be a case of scaling and resetting from what were those rather chaotic mid-game moments where they were able to re-establish themselves and ultimately take out inhibitors and really run away with the game. But the boys are back. Nick is comfortable.
Back in blue.
I don't know if Jake is comfortable, but regardless, back to Nick.
Was a game of two halves, that one.
Yeah,
It was
absolutely.
Order very strong in the first half, and then as soon as Legacy took over, everything just slowed down, and They just sort of ground it out.
Yeah, completely. And I think Rusty was kind of hitting the nail on the head that those Ornn upgrade items just add like between, like, I think they're about 1,200 to 1,800 per kind of item upgrade that you can hit. So when you see the late game starting to come online for the Legacy members that just have all the additional stats, it is very hard to deal with. And I think that this was one of those games where Order had a lot of control until they made two crucial errors, right? Rare 7 face checked a brush and had to burn both summoner spells, and then the Baron was stolen away. If either of those mistakes don't happen, maybe we're talking about a different game. But you do have to credit the experience of Legacy, and this is what I've been saying, you know, with people like Babbitt, with people like Raze, they're always going to feel like they're in a game until the Nexus dies, and that's why they are such a intimidating team to play against.
We have Babbitt here, but we're looking for a microphone. I've got it.
Yeah, there you go,
buddy.
Just walk across.
You walked in just in time to hear all the praise.
Hey, Leo.
What's up?
Congratulations.
Is his microphone actually turned on, Nick, or did
Who
you turn it
knows,
off?
man? I'm not in control of the...
I think you turned it off. Give him that one.
The switches and the... Just hold them both.
Don't do that. Give me the other one back.
All right, now give me that one.
No, don't do that.
How you feeling?
That was pretty exhilarating, to say the least.
Spicy for the first half for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, both these games we've just been in a bit of a situation, and then we just pulled it back somehow.
And how was the Baron fight?
It was pretty good for me.
So talk us through it, because people at home wouldn't know like how hard it is. Because obviously what was happening in that fight is Swiper and Billy are trying to keep you out of the pit.
Yeah.
And then you're trying to get in the pit. Like, what are you actually thinking about, and like kind of how does it happen?
I mean, at that point in the game, like when we found like the pick on Xyle, it was pretty much just like, it was like do or die. It's like, we're not going to outscale them anymore. Like we knew with our comp that we outscaled them, but that's only if the game's even.
Yep.
And the game was not even. Like Xyz has like 2 items and Quince has like 1 item. So at that point, it was just do or die. Like you need to go for the steal or the game's over. And yeah, it's pretty hard to like execute keeping Lee out of the pit because he just has so many ways to get in.
Yep.
And I have Mercs. I mean, I tabbies that game, but yeah, it's just like, it's really hard to keep Lee out of the pit. Yeah.
Cool. And talk to me about the return to Legacy, because obviously you backstabbed Tim and went to Chiefs.
Yeah.
Pretty famously as well. Then you went to Mammoth and won yourself a title. Now you're back with the organization that would have brought you up. How is it to come home?
Yeah. I mean, me and Tim still have like just...
Beef? Huge beef?
No. I mean, it doesn't seem like it. We still have really good, like just chemistry. We just get along really well. So it didn't feel like there was any beef. I mean, he knew that I was just doing what I thought was best for my career, and just
Turns out it was.
yeah, I'm just coming back to repay the debt.
Are you worried that he's playing like a super long game and just really lulling you into a false sense of security, like building this team that looks like it's really solid, and then suddenly does something terrible like...
Bam, he's a jungler in the grand final.
At the finals, he just says, "I'm stepping in."
Yeah, totally.
Absolutely.
Well, he's thinking it now because you gave him the idea.
Nah, Tim has always been a person that actually just like has the well-being of his players in mind. So yeah, I don't think he would be planning anything malicious.
Before we go, I want to shout
I was going to ask him a different question as well.
Oh, no, but I want to talk about something totally irrelevant. Okay, you start.
Let me ask my question first.
Sure.
Because like he beat me, so I have to get the cheeky one in there.
Okay, right.
Cool. How does it feel being the only member of Mammoth still in O's?
I mean, yeah, no, it actually feels like there is a lot of, I wouldn't say like luck involved with getting picked up overseas, but it is something that highlights to me that like, yeah, like you need to go above and beyond. Like you need to be a Ryoma, you need to be above and beyond to get picked up. So
Is it motivating to
it's
like be
extremely
the one
motivating.
left? Yeah.
It's extremely, like Mitch is doing so well in the LEC right now, and it's extremely motivating, and I'm very proud of them.
The correct answer is someone had to stay here to spank order. Finally, I want to shout out Legacy's socials. Looking really good. There's a video with a lot of like dry ice smoke of you guys like in the house getting ready for the split.
Yep.
That's some drama, man.
Yeah, Winston's the king of content.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
I mean,
video-
I didn't expect all these little bits to like, I didn't even know anything. Like Tim was like, yeah, we're going to do content. I'm like, yeah, okay, what's like content, you know, like vlogs, like we did content. So
Yeah. You're doing Nicholas Winding
pretty good.
Referen, like fill the house with dry ice shit. It's really good. Check it out. We'll be back right after this break.
Race goes to this fight rather late. The heal comes across. It's not going to be enough. So far, so good. It's a 1-for-1 trade. Isles goes golden, but the shutdown is there. Babbitt falls on down. Zarya finds a kill on towards that Nautilus, and Raze jumping like a ghost. Legacy's playing like he's a bruiser. Golden stopwatch is utilized all for nothing at this stage. Perry goes down, but the shutdown is good. Raze finds what he needs. Another stopwatch, because we like telling you what the time is. Baron down to 2k. Order will slow things down. Obviously not wanting to play into smite range, but they do steal it away. Babbitt picks it up. That's absolutely insane right there as Raze gets the first kill. It's support for support as Rakan falls on down. They're on the hunt for Rare, who's just getting 2 shots. The damage is insane right now. He has only in the backside. He needs support. They flip the script. They go for Raze. They shut him down. They need these kills. They want these kills. This could be the team fight Legacy have been looking for. But there's so much damage across the board. Legacy are flinching, surviving on health bars that are sub 10%.
Very excited is the side of Legacy as they are able to get the victory. 39 minutes is a very long game for them.
Imagine if you took Coca-Cola No Sugar and full-on froze it. Well, now you don't have to. Head down to Macca's and try the new frozen Coke No Sugar for just $1. Exclusive to Macca's.